Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Junior Johnson, first one in. How are you, Jamie? That's Grizmatically Clever for all your I'm freezing here. All your song needs. Sorry about the freezing there. I usually have really good internet. Hopefully nothing's going on. Little early morning talk. I'm thinking, and I don't quote me. I'm thinking Frank Meister's probably going to do a live tonight. Hopefully he got some sleep. He was burning the midnight oil the night before. He was actually on It's a Crying Shame last night. What's up, Julianne? Julianne, I think I've been calling you Julian all this time. I noticed yesterday in the Ruckus Kristen Behind the Crime Door marathon that they did for 11 hours. I was looking at everybody's name and I said, I've been calling Julian all this time. So I apologize. I don't know who anyone is. I don't know if people are male or female. So when I come to the walks next month, if you see me, you're going to have to tell me who you are by your YouTube name. And then I can say, oh, okay. And if you want to tell my real name's Joe or whatever. Okay. That's okay, though. But a lot happened yesterday in Delphi. Appreciate all the creators, most of the creators that went to cover it. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end here. But Frank, Frosty, Rescue All the Dogs, Bob Motto was there. There was a girl, I don't know her name, was doing stuff with the unraveling. She was there. And I'm sure there was several others, people I'm forgetting. Murder Sheet was there. Whoever else. But I appreciate them going, taking time out of their day. Expenses, depending how far they're coming, gas, food, nothing's cheap anymore. A lot of people were able to help out Frank yesterday, which was really cool. Ruckus found a way. Like, I don't have my PayPal was hacked. I'm about to just be done with that because it's been in review for 30 days. So I was able to Venmo it to Ruckus. He could Venmo it to Frank, and a lot of people did that yesterday. And I hope you did it for the creators that you follow too. If you have it, even if it's $5, you know what I mean? Here, get a cup of coffee because they had to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it just so I don't want to spoil Frank's thunder, but they all went to Applebee's, he said, last night. So they were all happy, and they made Frosty drive home. He was the least tired. So, but hopefully we'll get to hear from all of them, and hopefully they're all really resting up from yesterday. Let's say hi to everybody, and I'll get to you with what I got. Plan on staying about an hour. 10:30 is kind of a weird time during the week, so people catch us on the replay. I'm doing my best to figure out how to keep the comments up, like the comments that in the chat, so you can see as it goes. I'm not sure how to do it though. Criminality does, Teresa doesn't. I think it's really good. You can see what you're answering, different things like that. So maybe I'll message her on Discord and ask her if she could help me figure that out, because you know how technologically savvy I am. I'm about as technologically savvy as Attorney Hennessy, apparently. Morning, Just Deb. Okay, Julianne. I think someone called you somewhere. I saw you yesterday somewhere. What's up? Hi, Jinx. Jinx was there yesterday too. Can't forget about her. I don't know if the Indie Archive was there, but everybody. And Kyra, right? Or Kira. I think I called you the wrong name too, and I apologize. I do. Truth and Justice, how are you? Truth and Justice has a really cool channel. Hey, Witchcraft, I was talking to you yesterday, and I don't even remember what chat it was. But Witchcraft, my girlfriend likes wine, red wine. I'm a beer guy. I can't drink regular beer because I have celiacs, but I found a really good gluten-free beer. And before you say, oh, gluten-free beer, it doesn't suck. It's really good. But I could drink seltzers, High Noons, White Claws. I don't like the things that are too sugary, but Witchcraft yesterday mentioned that we were talking about eating frozen grapes. That's what the chat descended. We were 11 hours. We talked about cocaine, hookers, food, the trial, and every other thing. Spiders. Kristen has a bunch of jumping spiders. We talked about everything. But Witchcraft, and you drink wine here, freeze grapes. We were talking about eating frozen grapes. They're good. Put them in the freezer for an hour. use frozen grapes in your wine instead of ice cubes because it won't water your wine down. And wine comes from grapes anyway. Well, almost all wine. Some wines, I guess, don't. My girlfriend's the expert there. Yes. And Jinx, before I even asked her to do it, she already did it. Truth and Justice, really cool channel. Please check it out. There's Grizz, Grismatically Clever. Of course, Jinx has already shared his thing above me even asking. If you have any, want to do anything, Grizz put some great work together. He's working on some really cool stuff. He gave me a sneak peek of something, and it's really good. He comes from the heart too. Grizz, how do you guys feel about getting Kenny Pickett? Because we didn't want him anymore. He ain't going to play in front of Jalen Hurts. I hope no one in Philly's thinking that. Kira. So I said it two ways, and neither way was right. I apologize. Hey, look who it is. The man who fooled the world. Well, not maybe half of the world. Very good to see you, Fig. I support you. Have you heard that Eminem song, Patiently Waiting for a Track to Explode On? I think that's what Fig's doing. He's just, and as yesterday it was said in the chat, in Frank's chat, figure around and find out. That's a pretty good shirt. Pretty good shirt. I don't know how long Fig's going to be in here. Maybe he can help with a question that I have about the discovery. Yeah, we talked about everything yesterday, Jamie. It was good, though. It was good. I enjoyed it. Peggy, how are you? I think it's maybe the first time I've seen you here. Welcome. Frank is here. How are you? Talk to him behind the scenes. He's grinding, fellas and ladies. He is. His heart's in the right place. I think so. I consider him my friend. He has tremendous passion. And I think as this case goes on and things move on, there'll be some more, but he's a smarter than a whip, as they would say. Well, thank you. Kira. You'd think people who've been saying your name recently, I would get it right, but I don't. I apologize. Going crazy. Yeah, I was too yesterday, going crazy. I was too. I don't think that the stalker would have, I don't know. I don't think he would have escalated to that, but it's not. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't like it either. Dawn Spain, how are you? Figure around and find out. That's pretty awesome. But you know what? That back and forth ribbing like that between creators that maybe think Richard Allen's guilty, creators that don't, that stuff's okay. I think that's good fun. If someone comes back, claps back at me with something funny, I'm going to laugh. If it's funny, I'm going to laugh. If it's not funny, I'm like, eh. But those things there are definitely a long day yesterday, witchcraft, fun and funny. It was. I took a nap in between. Shane, I don't know if Shane is Considine's in here today, but he took a nap. Somebody mentioned that they drove an hour to work, went home, or drove an hour to work, worked the whole day, and on the way home, they were still on the radio. Frank corrected me too. Thank you. Once I get muscle memory in my head there, we'll get it going. So, okay, a couple things. Now, I was not in court. A couple things that I find interesting. And I want to show you, I want to go over the judge's rules for discovery in this case, which this was the first time I ever read a rule of discovery in a case, like specifically for this case, for any case. Then I started reading a bunch of others. Trump has some, Johnny Depp had some. There was all these different things. So I read this one first, then I reviewed it against other ones. And it just seemed like, wow, this is crazy strict. They're talking about something specific, in my opinion. I'm not a lawyer, but I'll get to that. But reviewing yesterday, so basically for the Hennessy is representing, Baldwin did some work. There's a dean or lady, a woman that's working with the prosecution now. I don't know if she's related to the judge or not, or even if that would matter. It's a smaller area. Everyone was impressed with her. Everyone was impressed with Attorney Baldwin, that I could tell. Those are like the constant things. So whether you're for or against the defense, they thought they looked good. I've only saw a couple people that said Hennessy performed well. Everyone was kind of saying he lost steam or he had trouble hearing. So I don't know if it's actually a trouble hearing issue or if he's trying to like antagonize the judge. And she offered him a hearing device. But anyways, through the so as they're looking at a couple of the motions, one of the motions, Hennessy was given a week to add to his what he was going after. The prosecution, McClellan will have a week to get back. The judge will have 30 days to rule. And someone could correct me because I don't want to say the wrong motion in here, but that would pretty much put us up to the trial date or in that vicinity. And I think that's good for everybody. Bob Mata said last night that the way that this was ruled, even though the judge didn't say it, she's not going to throw him off the case because of the time constraints and things like that. So it was like a tip off to attorneys, which I believe him on that. And I think that's good. So listen, if they fucked up, here, you're going to get fined or whatever. I don't jailable. I don't know. But they're going to prepare their drafts and kick it back and forth. Hopefully somebody in here fixed that. Again, I'm not a legal guy at all, but I did want to talk about a couple things. So without getting like too crazy into the documents, I don't think it was the contempt. So what motion was that, guys? If you could just correct me, what motion it was they gave the Hennessy asked for some time. She said a week, okay. Yeah, a week's okay. Okay, I'll give you a week. I'll give the prosecution a week, and then I have 30 days to rule. That's interesting too, Frank. I'm going to talk about that. I am, because there's two things. Unified, it comes from the Incident Command System, the ICS system, which came from the world of business. That's incorporated to emergency services, and it can go from a regular house fire incident to a 9/11 type incident. They used the Incident Command System in 9/11. It was a crazy one because your initial command post was destroyed when the tower fell, the first tower fell. The initial command post was destroyed. So at the top, you have an incident commander and they draw boxes, and then it goes out as big as it needs to. You might only need one box, two boxes here, and a couple boxes there. But there's unified command, and then there's united command. So unified command is everybody has like a fair shake. Maybe they send one representative and they sit at a table, almost like a board of directors. This is where this is taken from, in case you didn't know. We got tons of schooling on this. We had to take a ton of classes on it. It's called ICS, Incident Command System, stolen from the business world. So these board of directors come to the table and they all kind of agree how we're going to do things. That was interesting though too. But I want to talk about Major Click. And then does anyone know if you can get the actual transcripts from the court from what everybody said? Is that out? And if that's out, does it come out the next day? We have to wait on it. Can anyone send it to me? Because I'm really interested in what Major Click had to say. Casa, is that a place out there, Big Fish? Charles, how are you? They went to Applebee's. I hope they didn't get kicked out like Ricky Bobby's dad. That's the first thing I thought when Frank went to Applebee's. He's like, oh, we went to Applebee's. I'm like, you didn't send back your bourbon steak because it had onions on it, did you? Hennessy brought a bunch of hearsay. Yeah, well, you know what? One of the things that I've heard, and no one's changing their opinion on what they're guilty or not, but a lot of people weren't propping Hennessy up that I've seen, even on the defense side. They were propping Baldwin up, and Frank Meister said that too. He said he thought Baldwin was a pretty sharp tack, if you will. Randy left. Randy, if you want to know what happened in the back of the courtroom, Randy heard an argument with Rick Snee and Kathy. I always called her Clendenning. I've heard her name pronounced 6 different ways. I need to figure that out because she's my friend. And Randy's like, I'm not going back after lunch. So if you go to his channel, he did like a little 30-minute talk on what he saw and things like that. And Randy's the OG of the Delphi case, and his heart's as big as the state of California. It really is. So. Okay. No. Okay. Even if, is it even not a recording, but even a transcript? No, I didn't. And this, me and Joe Newman were talking about wrestling. This isn't anything to do with Delphi case. No, I was all in Delphi, Joe. I'm going to have to catch it last night. So, you're not a Cody fan. Cody's okay. I love Dusty and I love The Rock. I'm doing good, Charles. Haunted Stella, how are you? Haunted Stella was all over yesterday too. I saw her a bunch of times. I read the comment. Was there a new article today? I read the article yesterday. Well, I think they actually interviewed Rick Snay. Rosie got on the stand, but Baldwin didn't. Correct. Yeah, that's what I understand too. That's what I understand too. Which maybe that makes sense. I mean, in all of this, I don't know what Rosie did. Did he have a duty to report that he knew about a leak? Did he know about a leak? I don't know. Okay, I was just curious because I'm really interested in what Major Click had to say. Because here's the reason. Let me tell you the reason. The reason is, I'll check it out, Joe. Me and Joe are wrestling marks. The reason is when Major Click was on a stand, because Major Click says he still believes that, the Rushville people, Elvis Fields, and those guys were involved in the murder. He quit investigating in 2021, shortly after Greg Ferenczi was murdered outside of the federal building. I'm going to call it the federal FBI building. And he was not targeted. There was a former prison employee who kind of lost his shit and had a beef with the FBI, and he was the first guy that came out. The second guy that came out took that son of a bitch down. So for people to say that they weren't targeting him. But anyway, so basically after that, 2021, he kind of stopped the investigation. So he doesn't know what happened after 2021 onward. He doesn't know the information. It wasn't shared with him because he wasn't part of the investigation. When they were questioning him on the stand yesterday, can anyone help me with this? Did they ask him anything about Odinism? Because Major Click has come out and said that nobody in law enforcement thought it was an Odinist sacrifice, but Major Click did believe that the people from Rushville were involved. So I'm very curious to know, because if they steered away from that, Odinist thing, that'd be very interesting to me. Are they going to change? I don't think they're going to change midstream, but can they follow Major Click's theory and say, yeah, this wasn't an Odinist sacrifice, but these people did it? Which all along, why wouldn't you do that? Why would you cite Major Click in the Frank's memo, but not agree with his what he says at the end? He said this wasn't an Odinist sacrifice, but he thinks those folks were involved. So I'm very interested to see. I have the affidavit. I've seen that, but I just, on the stand yesterday, I wanted to hear the interaction between the defense attorney and Major Click. I think that'd be very interesting to me. And I'm no knock on Major Click. I just don't know what information that he had. Did they share information with him? They interviewed Brad Holder 3 days after for people to say that he wasn't interviewed and checked out. I mean, they were on him first. Something moved them from them. So we're going to find out whatever that is. I mean, the guy was on was it Holder or Westfall that was on a video at work driving a truck during that time. I don't believe that was not related. Now he's saying, well, that's what I wanted to know. Did he change his opinion? Because if he changes his opinion on it, doesn't he lose a little bit of credibility? Theoretically? Yeah, well, actually, they're saying it was like 3 or 4, I believe, if you read there in the Frank's memo. Good morning, Cindy. Cindy always has some funny comments. Yeah, and he was pretty clear. And I think it was the murder sheet, the quote. And then when the murder sheet put it out, they only put out the first part of the quote. I shared the quote. You got to share both parts of it. But anyways, he's a really interesting character to me. I'd love to know what he knew. He had to quit getting information officially, right? Because he wasn't on the task force. He wasn't investigating it anymore. But if anyone knows, I'm going to talk to Frank today, Frank Meister, and see what he could remember as much as he could, because he was there, Frosty, because I'm very interested in it. I just want to know what he has to say on it. And I think it was interesting that he appeared, and Bob Mata and other people that are attorneys think that this is a foreshadowing that Major Click will appear at court in May. So at that point, I think I'd be interesting from Nick McClellan or whoever else, Diener or Luttrell, to cross-examine and say, do you think this was an Odinist sacrifice? and Major Click says no, does he then walk away and sit down and say, no more questions, Your Honor? Because if that's what they're pushing, I just wonder that. I don't know how court works, but it's very interesting to me. So maybe, I don't know. Just thinking here. The other thing that was very interesting to me, and I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to show you the rules of discovery. So this is my big question of this episode here. Does anyone know when the time frame that Mitch Westerman worked for Baldwin's firm? That's very important, because if you can tell me that, and I can't find out anywhere, you look up Mitch Westerman, Westerville, Indiana, and it's all leak. His LinkedIn was taken down right after it happened. Can anyone tell me that? Because if Mitch Westerman was not working for that firm and didn't sign a sworn affidavit that if he was given information or talked about information, if he doesn't have that affidavit, they violated the rule of discovery that the judge laid out in this case. Let me show that to you, but I don't know if anyone can help me with that time frame that he worked there, definitively worked there, because they have the text messages. So basically, Ben Rector did lie detectors on Delphi and Flora. I guess he's like a tech guy too. He broke open to the cloud. He saw Westerman and Baldwin exchanging information. And when I heard that, Frank said that yesterday, I about jumped up like I had a spring on my seat. And I was like, holy shit, isn't that illegal? And everyone kind of sat back and was like, no, it's not illegal. So again, I'm not a lawyer. So I went back and I read that discovery rule for this case. Ruling, I guess you should say, for this case. And it says clearly in there, I'm going to show it to you. So just let me know. Let's see. But I'd like to know the exact date. I believe he said he had permission to consult him from Gall herself in the paperwork. Well, let me show you this and tell me what you guys think. Or am I reaching here? Or do I not understand the legal document? It would not be the first time that I didn't understand the legal document. But again, I keep going back to this this discovery thing. And again, it's the first one I ever read. But since I've had this one, I've read about 20 other ones. I've read different crimes where I know that they've had pictures and things like that. And let me go back to the other one here. And I've never seen anything like this crazy. Sorry, this isn't the clean one. I had two of these, and I thought I saved the one that was a little bit cleaner. But anyways, discovery material. So listen how, to me, this is extremely strict. Again, I've read probably 25 to 30 other discoveries than this. There's lawyers that have read thousands. If they say one thing and I say the other, listen to that. One copy of the discovery material shall be provided to counsel for the defendant. One copy. You're not allowed to make any more copies of anything. Now, I'm not saying that Baldwin said Westerman make copies, but they're not allowed to do that. No additional copies for discovery material shall be made by the defendant, the defendant's counsel, investigator, expert, or any other representative or agent of the defendant for that reason, okay? So if Mitch Westerman is working for Baldwin right here, if he's working for Baldwin, then Baldwin violated the discovery here, right? Or am I misinterpreting this? If Mitch Westerman didn't work for Baldwin, there's a thing here at the bottom. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to come back and read your comments. And I could be way off on this. That no additional copies of the discovery material shall be made by the defendant, by the defendant's counsel, investigator, expert, or any other representative or agent of the defendant for any reason. And also what I want to know, guys, do you think Gall is going to cite any of this in her, whenever she puts her thing out? The discovery material should not be used for any purpose other than to prepare for the defense in the above reference case number. Discovery material should not be publicly exhibited, displayed, shown, used for educational research, demonstrative purposes, in any other manner except in judicial proceedings. So I know that they said that, Hennessy was flipping the paper around and things like that. I don't think they could get him for this because it's a judicial proceeding, and he could be like, hey, what are you talking about? How am I supposed to hold it? Did he do that on purpose? I think so. I think people that were there thought that. I think so. That's what they think, and I trust their opinions. You never be able to prove that, though. That discovery material may be viewed only by parties, counsel, and counsels, investigators, and experts. So if he wasn't working for them, if he wasn't on the case, and then there's another thing here, we have to have a sworn affidavit. That's the other end of this. So how is he looking at it? That would be a violation of the discovery order if anyone else is able to see that. Okay. Open on a conference table. And then again, Hennessy's motion later on says, we will never do this again. We'll put it in a lock safe, pinky swear, double promise, everything. So they acknowledged that the way he was storing it was incorrect. That if copies of discovered material are made and provided to the defendant, investigators, or experts for the defense, the sensitive and private information contained in the discovery shall be redacted, including any social security numbers. I don't know what that first of IDAC confirmation, NCIC confirmation, any other related to the personal information of juveniles, including social numbers, date of birth, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now let's get into this one. This is the other edge of the sword, in my opinion. And again, if I'm reading legalese wrong, I apologize. And if someone corrects me, you'd be doing me a favor. Or maybe you say, yeah, you know what? You're on to something, you crazy fireman. That none of the discovery material shall be divulged to any person not authorized to view the discovery material. This includes witnesses, family members, relatives, and friends of the defendant. So that one's kind of like in limbo. Where would Westerman fall there? I don't know. I think both sides can argue that. That no person other than the defendant, counsel for the defendant, and those persons listed in paragraph 6 with the investigators, experts, things like that, shall be granted access to the said discovery material or the substance of any portion thereof, unless the person has signed an agreement in writing that he or she received a copy of this order and that he or she submits to the court's jurisdiction and authority with respect over the discovery, agrees to be subject to the court's contempt powers for any violation of this order, and is granted prior permission by this court to access the discovery. Okay? That's a big paragraph there. It's a really wordy and it's really lawyerish, but I think that I can sift through all the shit and figure out what it says. So if Westerman was working for him or wasn't working for him, I guess in this case, you'd have to be working for him. Those persons listed in paragraph 6, and we go back to paragraph 6, that lists the investigators. I'm assuming Mitch Westerman has this signed order, and that Baldwin's going to be able to produce this order. Or does it not even matter? Is this like too technical? Am I missing the boat here? But I just clinged to this document when it came in. I'm like, this is really weird. The final disposition of the case, discovered material referred to in paragraph 1, and all other transcripts shall be returned to Carroll County prosecutors, blah, blah, blah. The counsel for the defendant shall be responsible to ensure that all persons involved in the defense of this case comply with this order. So if Mitch Westerman worked for you at the time and you were able to discuss strategy with it, number 10 says you didn't follow the order. So could Gall come back with something like that? I was just curious. Now let me see your questions. And if there's any lawyers in the chat, they might be saying, well, yeah, Coach Kev, you're reaching. But let me see. I just thought that was interesting, and I wanted to share that with you guys and hear what you guys have to say about it. So let me get back up in the comments here. Man, I'm Tom Webster behind. I didn't watch Tom's show yesterday. I'm going to watch it today. Okay, we're with Kira, sorry, I apologize. I'll get it right. Says that through paperwork, the Gall gave them permission. Defense memos, they could consult with people. They've said, okay. Yeah, well, he worked on it. But so this was before I showed you that picture. So either way, in my opinion, and again, I'm not Johnny Cochran here. I'm not even an ambulance chaser or attorney. So yeah, it was unfortunate, Jinx. I'll talk about that at the bottom. I really like one of those guys. The hamburger people. I told you Cindy was good. The hamburger people have an episode highlighting him. Yeah, they do. It was back. I do remember listening to that. Mitch Westerman. Yeah, he was also banned too. Just for clicks. Funny's funny. Yeah, if you watch the video real quick, I got to go side because I don't want to forget this. If you watch the video, the guy that always wears the cool hats, Russ McQuaid, that guy looks like an alligator farmer or something. Like I wouldn't fuck with him. As he's doing an interview, you hear screaming to the side, and he's like, "Oh, it's two YouTubers debating," and you see people running out of the court. One of them's Doug Carter, the superintendent in Indiana State Police, and he ain't sprinting. He's a leisurely jog, and he's old school. He's like, "I tell you what, some bitches are still fighting when I get there. Somebody's getting it." You know, the young whippersnappers are sprinting, and Doug Carter's just like, "Here I come." So if you watch the Russ McQuaid stand-up interview outside of the courthouse, you'll see him running behind him. Hey, Jill. There's Kathy. I want to get to your comments about what I was showing you. All right, Kira has something. Him taking them was illegal. That's why he's been charged, but they were allowed to talk strategy. Yeah. So, like, could the judge say, where's this document that he had to sign? But ultimately, Baldwin in that discovery, Baldwin's responsible for it. But they're not going to throw him off the case, obviously. Well, from what the lawyers are saying, but to me, when I heard those text messages going back and forth, and I'm saying, wow, he's clearly working on the case. He's feeding him information. He took information and then shared it with Fortson, who shared it with Cohen or whoever, however else that worked there. But I just wondered if that was like, you have the defense. A lot of people from the defense are saying, oh, they're working with McClellan. They're working with Fig tipped some shit in. So did I. Am I working with McClellan? I tipped in that a YouTuber used in a Frank's memo is out to lunch. And I showed you guys that. And he never responded to me. But so you have proof of the defense, whether they knew or not, working with people, through you on YouTube. Maybe Baldwin didn't know that they were. I'm not ready to make that proclamation. But I think that the hearing, the trial needs to go on, unless there's like a smoking gun where it's Baldwin saying, do this, and he's talking to a bunch of people from YouTube, which that probably doesn't exist. Do what you got to do, fine them, say, don't do that again, or whatever the hell, and then move on. But I just found that extremely interesting for the people that said the defense didn't do anything. If you read that, even if I'm wrong on a couple of things, they cover that, whether it's persons working for you or whether it isn't a person. Now, if Mitch Westerman wasn't working for him, then he was leaking evidence to somebody in the public, which ended up on YouTube. If he didn't sign the document there, maybe that's not a big deal. Maybe you're making too much of a deal with them signing that sworn affidavit. Morning, Dr. Poon. We know you're watching. I just wonder what everybody thought. Yeah, that's a good point, Peggy. I'd have to go back and look. I was just very curious if anybody knew those dates. I found that ironic the conspiracy theorist supporters think RA is a fall guy. Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's it's the quote from that song. People carrying signs, mostly saying "Hooray for our side" or "us side." I'm not sure the exact lyric. So it's never going to end. If Richard Allen could get up in front of court, do a full allocution, say why he did what he did, and people are going to say, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. They could show him on video they could show a million different things, and people, unfortunately, are going to change their mind. How many people changed their mind yesterday? Nobody. Yesterday was a pretty big day. A lot of stuff came out. Yeah, I haven't got to talk to Kathy yet either. But Kathy was also there, made the trip. I think I have a picture of Kathy talking to Doug Carter. I don't know if I do or not, Kathy. Yeah, and you know what else yesterday showed? That Ruckus is right. YouTube's not going to have anything to do with this case. Nothing. Julie Melvin got to speak for a very short period of time. I don't know if Skip got to say anything or not. It was just not relevant. Now, are they going to try to bring them into court for the trial itself? I don't think so. I haven't heard any people prognosticate on that yet, like legal people, but I don't think so. So, we could give our opinions here. And, most people are here for justice for Libby and Abby. There's no question. But there's other channels that aren't true crime channels. They're Jerry Springer channels. And, go back to Ruckus or again, goddamn old cop was right again. I can't be baited. I can't be baited. Well, I could be baited, and I was baited. And the more that this goes on and the events of yesterday, what it's showing me is, I mean, those people, they're doing what they're doing. They're just subhuman. They have subhuman character. And if nobody acknowledges them for what they're doing, making song and different things like that, funny videos are different. The A-Team videos that I like when Ashley Schaefer or Delphi Dummies put me in videos. I think it's funny. I would think it's funny when other people did videos too. I think it's funny when people try to reenact my skits by dressing differently on shows and stuff like that. That's funny. I do think that's funny. But and at the end of the day, it's got to be onward and upward here. With Delphi, until we hear anything else, I actually plan to do a Manson thing, kind of get more back to what I originally came up here for. And I'll cover everything that comes up on Delphi. But until we get these Hennessy's written argument, and then McClellan gets a week, then the judge has 30 days. I don't think, from what I hear, again, I'm not a lawyer, she's not going to take 30 days. She might maybe take a couple of days or a week to keep everything clean and moving forward to the court date in May, which I think is the best thing. So we will see what happens. But I don't know if I have anything else on this document, that discovery rule I showed you. Sorry to hear that, Kathy. Yeah, the people that were poking Snay got the best of him yesterday. And I enjoy his content. Yeah, that's you know what, that's actually legal, Jinx. But I think we were talking, I don't know if you were in the chat yesterday. Could you imagine if Fig was sitting down at a table with Nick McClellan? They'd be like, oh my God, they killed Kennedy. They started smallpox, Lyme disease. Look, here it is. But that's par for the course. Yeah, I think so too. They'll do something, and is it possible she just does it to Baldwin? And Baldwin's like, hey, Brad Rossi didn't know. I didn't tell him. He didn't have a duty to report. Or I don't understand it, but I find it all very interesting. And I would love to hear what Major Click has to say. If anyone has, and I don't think he does any interviews. I haven't seen any other than what he did with the murder sheet. And then he, interview, and he kind of came back with a statement after. With what they said, but I'm very interested in what he has to say, because I think that's going to tell us how the defense is going to proceed. Are they going to stay with the Odinist thing, or are they going to say, well, it wasn't Odinist, or it was Odinist, but it wasn't a ritual? Because I don't understand why they didn't go with Major Click from the door. And here's something else that people are saying that we don't know this for a fact. The Behavioral Analysis Unit of the FBI has never made a comment about this case. People that are telling you they said they thought it was Odinist or Nordic, that might be true. We might find out that that's true, but they've never said it anywhere. Major Click in the Franks memo quoted the BAU. Nobody from the BAU is quoted in. They don't have a person's name, who's working the case, nothing. Major Click said that. I'm not calling Major Click a liar. Maybe that will come out in court. The BAU did, we said, Nordic beliefs. But we don't know that for a fact. That's not a fact. You could theorize on that. But like if you listen to profilers, they're like, that's not how the BAU works. They're going to give you stacks of paper explaining what they're explaining. And he's like, they're just not going to say that the person might have had Nordic beliefs. It's just not the way that the information is delivered. This is from profilers, retired guys. This is not how they would do it. No one's calling him a liar or whatsoever like that. But just so we know, the BAU has never officially said that. So anyone that reports that they said that definitively, they're incorrect right now. In 2 months, they might be correct, but right now that they're not. So I picked that out right away. Verbiage is very important. I'm kind of into diction. It helps me figure out who fake accounts are on on here. I think I do a pretty good job of that because people don't change their diction. Russ McQuaid. Yeah, Russ McQuaid, he's kind of like a mix of Indiana Jones and like the old governor of Pennsylvania, Tom Wolfe, because he had that beard, you know what I mean? Leather, he got leather on, you know, like, oh, is he here to do an interview or is he here to kick my ass? I'd believe either. Hey, Cindy, how are you? CJK, I asked you in the Ruckus Kristen Marathon yesterday, how do you like the Jayhawks seating? You might not have seen it because we were going hot and heavy. He's best friends with the murder sheet. That's Westerman, Greeno, Westerman. Could explain a lot. I'm going to make sure before we confirm that's what Anthony says. Whoops. If you read the Supreme Court's opinion, okay. I read it once or twice, but I had it explained to me more, so I will do that. Thank you, Mel, very much. Anybody that has any information like that, I always appreciate it. Kevlar148@hotmail.com or Kevlar148@gmail.com. Always like to hear stuff. Yeah, we heard about that, but, you know, it's about justice for Abby and Libby, right? Surely you jest. That old science teacher used to say that. Used to figure out a problem on a board, like a chemistry problem, and I'd be all proud. Like, Mr. Livingston, yeah, he would just look at me like, surely you jest, which means like, you're an asshole, that's not right. Oh, wow. Very interesting. He was not officially, okay. So, but either way, if he was or he wasn't, according to me, who has the, you know, I'm not even a small town bird lawyer. I think I got that joke. Either way, the defense violated the discovery rule. And I just wonder if that's something that the judge could come back on later and say, you know, hey, listen, you violated the discovery rule or whatever. But I just find it so interesting that, you know, so many people are like, oh, there's a McClellan's pipeline in this, or I never say his name right here, McClellan's pipeline in this, Nick's doing, and they're clearly not, right? There was none of that yesterday was able to be shown. The only people that called YouTubers was the defense. So does that mean something? Does it mean they're desperate? I don't know. Does it mean they thought that those people were going to be able to, you know, help them? Bob Mata, again, I know some of you like him, some of you don't. I enjoy his content. He had really cool boots on yesterday. Always dressed to a T. But Bob Mata, you got to get some Jordans, my friend. You're from Chicago, right? You think he's from Chicago. You could wear certain pairs of Jordans with suits like that and be like, yeah, you know. If you do that, Bob, we'll get you on kicks.com. But anyways, he even said that he thought the judge was fair yesterday. She was a little, you know, grouchy or iron-fisted, but he said she was like that with everybody. And Bob Mata said prior that he didn't think that those witnesses were going to be able to talk at that portion anyway. Maybe they can help, but, you know. There he is. Well, Frank Meister, I hope you got to sleep in quite a bit. You earned it yesterday. I was telling before that you guys went to Applebee's, and I said, well, I hope Frank Meister didn't get onions on his bourbon steak and have to get kicked out of Applebee's. If anybody's seen Talladega Nights, I hope you would appreciate that. Always good. Frank does great work. I'm sure everyone that subbed to me has subbed to him already. But if you're not, go sub to Frank Meister. Yeah. It was. And, you know, it's starting to get to the point now where, you know, maybe a court hearing, maybe people need to go with the women now. You know. I don't know. You know what? And someone said this yesterday. I truly believe that in people's hearts of hearts, even with this, most people consider crazy behavior. Remember when I told you on my video from the porch, no one's going to get into anything at the courthouse? I was wrong. I always tell you when I'm wrong. I was wrong. But I think in their heart of hearts, you know, that they think that they're progressing something, but they're not progressing the case. They're not progressing whatever they want to do with the case. They're progressing with their teammates that are over here. We're over here, and this is how we're going to handle things. We're going to do this and do that. And then there's people, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then there's people that kind of try to stay straight down the middle. I try to stay straight down the middle. I made a hard motherfucking left turn in January, right? I just couldn't take it anymore. I don't regret that, but that's not like me. And I think that now looking back, it's probably not the right way to handle it. The right way to handle it is onward and upward and continue to move forward. So if the people that don't have true crime channels, that have Jerry Springer channels, don't have anyone to intrigue or entice anymore, what they're going to do is they're going to eat themselves. It's good. We're going to start chirping and going at each other. I have no beef with anyone that doesn't blame the family. And again, nothing about the family, nothing about drugs, drug hits. The defense hasn't brought any of that up. So how long are we going to carry on that narrative that most reasonable people know is probably horseshit, right? 153-page Frank's memo. They don't mention any of that. None of it. Because no one believes it, because it just isn't true. So people are like, oh, you're a family supporter. Well, thank you for saying that. I was told at work by somebody high up that's not in the union that me and two other guys, I wasn't told, the other guy was told. It said, you, so-and-so, and Kovac are the three biggest troublemakers here. And I said, wow, I'll tell him, the union president. So, maybe I am. I don't think I am, but if someone has a problem, they got to come to me and I got to try to fix it. I was like, oh, thank you for saying that. I'm in good company. Mel, the defense working with people is nothing. They have not proved anything nefarious outside of Mitch on either side as far as collusion. But Mel, I don't know if you were here, but does it matter that in that rules of discovery, they're not allowed to show anybody anything? Only certain people, and then they have to sign an affidavit. That was my question in this particular case, not just in general, what anyone was able to do. And when no one's working with the prosecution, how many people tip things in, right? People that are accusing Fig of doing collusion with the prosecution have done the same exact thing. They've sent tips in. So are they colluding? No, you sent a tip in. Whether it was a couple papers or 2 pounds of shit, you sent a tip in. It's the same thing. The same thing. I did too. Wasn't really a tip about the case, but I showed you guys that. Well, David, I don't know if people on the side of the of no evidence, as Dave, he was there. He put himself there. In later interviews, he admitting to owning the same clothes and things like that. There's plenty of evidence. The totality of the evidence, whether you like the bullet evidence or not. And a bullet you're going to see that the bullet is followed chain of custody, was not found 2 weeks later by someone with a metal detector. That's an outright lie. But if you have something, Dave, you want to throw at the chat, you'll be won't be disrespected, but just that's kind of a blanket statement. So say what you feel. I think there's a lot of evidence against him. I find it highly interesting, and we don't know what the geofence stuff, but what the defense said, his phone wasn't there. So if they're telling the truth about that, did he lie to investigators when he said he was on a stock ticker? Or was he on a burner phone? I think I've thought for a year now he was on a burner phone. And you guys all know my theory on it. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong. It doesn't matter as long as the right person gets locked up for it. So and BW, I don't believe it was an accident. Oh, okay. Brandon Woodhouse. That's interesting too. I always thought that here's where I struggled with, why would Baldwin send information out to that fucking nut? I mean, the guy got swastikas all over his stomach. Like, when you're like racist like that, outward racist, to me, your opinion on nothing matters. because you can't figure out that human beings are the same regardless of their color. I can't believe anything you say. Whatever you say is null and void to me. It makes no difference. But I always thought that was definitely weird that he would send it to him. The judge said statements made by the defense counsel, Hennessy, are irrelevant and unsubstantiated. Yeah. I'm looking for some people that were there today. I watched a couple last night, regardless of the channel, just from people that were there to try to get their insights on it, which I thought was really cool. And I'm hoping Frank does that tonight. I know Frank takes notes like a mofo. Coach, I want him talked about Flora and shook his hand. Well, that's Doug Carter. Awesome. I'd love to meet him sometime. Not necessary. I have a couple good cop jokes I'd like to tell him that we tell all the cops where I work. I heard a few times Skip Jensen's alias will do repugnant by trying. Yeah, everyone kind of said that, but it's funny though, because it's kind of, if you're into wrestling, Joe Newman, it's all work, and they bought it. Making a paper, he was working. Oh my, I don't know. CIA. He was working for us. He could lie his butt off. Ruckus, Frank, Fig, you and others are the Jerry Springers. Yeah, I don't think so, David. I think that actually 100% opposite. But your opinion's valid. I mean, your opinion's your opinion. My opinion is those are the Jerry Springer shows. Because when did they talk about Libby and Abby? Never. They talk about craziness. They talk about absolute insanity. It has nothing to do with the case. So they're not true crime channels. That you're entitled to your opinion, though. Delphi dummies. That's where I watched. Is that where I watched the video where it showed Doug Carter running in the back? They put up funny stuff. They make fun of everybody. I'm in some of their videos. Julie Melvin. I didn't see a Julie. Is that JM Julie Melvin? I didn't see a Julie Melvin video. Coach idolizes one rapist. Who would that be, David Gray? Truth and Justice. I think they are in Discord. Yeah, it is incredibly creepy. I agree. Let's wait for David's response. I think I know what he's going to say. And there's actually court documents that prove opposite of that. But that's not important to David, I'm sure. Yeah, I heard that from other people too, but I could see as a cop. Now, I believe Todd Click really believes what he's saying. I don't think he's up there for whatever. And he's probably pissed at the police for not listening to him. So I could see how he could come off bitter. And, but I think he's such an interesting figure in this case. And if he was shared, if they shared information, if they said, hey, Major Click, come on in. We want to show you what else we had. And this is what steered us off of your people. Maybe they should have done that in the first place. Maybe that's another mistake that law enforcement made. All right. I don't think it's 100 people, countrywide, nationwide, worldwide conspiracy, but maybe someone from Unified Command went and said, hey, Major Click, here's why we moved off of your perps. Here's why we moved off of your perps. The fact that JM had to provide pounds of evidence. Yeah. None of that was brought up. Indiana Jones. Yeah. He had the leather Indiana Jones, though. Yeah. Jayhawks are 4. I did a bunch of brackets. I have one. It's free. I just did one on Yahoo. If anybody wants to get in it, it's in my Discord. Email me. Not this year. Not this year. We just fired our coach. We won a national championship in football. What can you say? You can't have them all. I'm going to miss him in the tournament. I like Juwan Howard. He's a great player, but the phone with the kidnapping, disturbed. Like watching the videos disturbing, or you don't think the videos from the phone. I'm not exactly sure what you mean, Dean. If you would clarify a little bit for me, I'd be glad to give you my 2 cents on it. Yeah. And you know what? Frank Meister mentioned it too, where there was a back and forth with that. And I think even Frank is in the chat. It was like, oh man, Holman, you shouldn't treat another cop like that. Like if it's 2 different things, we think it was him, I think it was that. Hopefully Stella answered your question already, Dean. Hey, listen, we disagree on this case, but I'm going to tell you what happened and treat you with respect. The police made a lot of mistakes here, 100%. I'm 85% that they did get the right guy. Better late than never. Did they try to cover their ass about things? Certainly. And I think the people that do that, same as people on YouTube, instead of coming back and saying they're wrong, well, I wasn't wrong, add 10 more people to the conspiracy. No, come back and be like, hey, I blew that one. If the cops would have done that early on and been more, we're switching gears, like, hey, listen, guys, we were going down this path. The evidence led us down that path. But after exhaustively doing that for 2 years, we found this, or however it happened. Whatever happened. Hey, Richard Allen called Skinner. Skinner called, Dolan, which was what I think happened, and said, listen, this guy was there. He's a witness. I've known this guy. We hunt together with him for 20 years. He's not the kind to do this. Cop to another cop, Walmart worker to another Walmart worker, McDonald's employee, fireman. Hey, this guy's a good guy. I trust it, right? Hey, I need someone to come in and fix my sink. I go to the firehouse. Who's a plumber? Well, if no one there is, we have some there. Hey, call my buddy. I trust what he has to say. I'm going to take that. I'm going to say, okay. So maybe it was logged in as a witness because of that. And I believe that that's what happened. And I think that that's what's going to come out. But just be upfront about it. Dolan, if you don't have a recording, fuck. The one that I screwed up, I have notes, but be upfront about it. I always try to be upfront about it. It's hard to do. Let me tell you something. It's harder for me to admit I'm wrong than it is probably anybody watching. Honestly, it sucks. But as I get older, I think it's very important. Very important on that. But they should have put more information out to the public too. A lot more. Frank, 4 a.m. again. Man, you're going to be on a crazy schedule. CJK responding to you, Dean. Hopefully that answers your question. Talladega Nights is awesome. I'm 14 minutes behind in chat. I'll tell you what, my channel better never get too big because it'll take me an hour to get back through. Yeah, hopefully someone already did. I wasn't exactly sure of Dean's question. I apologize for that. Find that everyone's so critical of Ellie, praise everything they did. You're talking about me? I'm critical of Ellie and I praise what they do. When they fuck up, I tell them they fuck up. Like I've said before, if Holman, and hopefully you're talking about me, Dean, if Holman and them guys lied during depositions, they should be imprisoned. But I don't think they did. I think that was the interpretation that the defense took from it. But yeah, they should be held to a higher standard. 99% of the time it's incompetence or fuck ups, and 1% of the time it's conspiracy. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I apologize, Dean. I didn't know what you were talking about there. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen that video. That's a very interesting video, or a very interesting piece of evidence. But what I want to see too is why the police walked away from those guys. What was it? And remember, Rushville, don't quote me, is about 300 miles away from Delphi, 250, 300 miles. Someone local could help me. But that's all very interesting. But I hope that the prosecution is going to be able to say, let me tell you why we moved off of them. Because Westfall, Fields, Messer, they all had one thing that Richard Allen didn't have. And that's an alibi. No alibi. Hugely disturbing to me. Writes the letter to the judge, doesn't declare his innocence. Very disturbing to me. Man, this fits with what's, maybe he's being accused of. There's a couple pieces that fit, but no alibi. So I'm hoping that McClellan or Luttrell or Diener is able to get up and say, yeah, why we didn't go with Brad Holder. Brad Holder looks like a crazy motherfucker. He does some weird shit. He might be psycho, but he's not our psycho. Okay. And this is why we're able to get him off the list. And, no offense to his ex-wife, but you got to have to do better than an ex-wife coming in who hates their ex. John Kelly talked about that in one of his shows about all the tips that were coming in. It's my ex-husband. Man, people can't be that vindictive. Yeah, they are. Or maybe they believe it, and maybe they're right 1 out of 100 times. But I would have liked to hear from his friends more. Yeah, Judge Gall was hitting a Matumbo yesterday, if you know the commercial. When he blocked, Dikembe Mutombo used to block a shot. He went like this, except his finger was like this long because he was 7 foot tall. I work with a lot. I back the blue most of the time, but listen, when they fuck up, I've had issues with guys at work that I didn't think were treating people good, and we talked about it right then and there. It was never disrespectful, but anyone that says the police are always right and anyone that says the police are always wrong are full of shit. When you look at YouTube channels and you want to get a creator that you think's real and gives it to you how it is, look at one case and look at another. If the case is cops are always right, cops are always right, cops are always right, that's probably a pro police channel, right? If the other people are like, it's a conspiracy, Kogar's innocent, Allen's innocent, he's innocent, then they're probably an anti-police channel. And if maybe that's what you want to hear, maybe it isn't. But if you want to get someone down the middle, look different cases and see. Even within Delphi, I think that there was many things that they could have done better. A whole lot of things they could have done better. And one, explaining themselves during the investigation a little bit without giving shit away, I think would have helped a lot. What kind of car was it? You know what I mean? Like just tell us that. Put that video out a little bit earlier. John Douglas agreed. John Douglas did an interview with a Current Affair. If you remember that, I think it was a Current Affair. I don't even know they were still around. And it was like a quick 2-minute interview. And he said early on, they think the ball was dropped. The opportunity to get this killer was maybe gone. And he wasn't sure if they would ever get it. I don't know if that was denied or not, or if that's something that's going to come back in the thing. Hopefully Frank could explain that. And again, is it a video that you need to see? I don't know. Was it a real one? Was it like a stage for like some kind of weirdo porn or something? But yeah, thank you, Cindy. If you go back and you remember who that is. If you ever saw The Legend of Billie Jean. Fair is fair. But the world ain't a fair place. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. Well, obviously, again, I guess you'd have to see the video, what they look like. But that's, again, that too is interesting evidence. Yeah, I would think so. As long as the other guy's out of here. Yeah, we could all disagree on things, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, Richard Allen's adjudicated innocent. Someone comes forward and says, yo, it was me. I can't live with it anymore. I'm fine. I don't need to be right. I don't. Absolutely not. Family satisfied. Yeah, they got the right guy. We believe they got the right guy. I'm cool. I don't need to be right. I'm 16 minutes behind now. You don't want to be bench warmers. Oh, thank you, Don Spain. Well put. I love anyone that puts any kind of sports context on anything. Trying to get through the chat here. You guys are fantastic. 80 people here on a Tuesday morning. Well, yeah, it's funny, but it's not. But that's funny. Denied. Yeah. I'd have a problem with that. I know we're being funny. Judge Gall sealed a couple things yesterday. You know what they were, Frank? Or could they be the letters? Or was there a motion? It's not illegal to send in a tip. One of those to share documents. Oh, okay. So you could send it in. They can't send anything back. Pretty sure that's what Greeno's saying there. Wife, mom, sister-in-law. I think Joe's question was who was there with Richard Allen. I agree. I just thought the same thing. First time about the sister-in-law being around. So that would be Kathy's sister, Richard's sister-in-law, Kathy's sister, whose husband passed away. I posted that, but regardless how I feel, the Supreme Court ruled on disqualification. Yeah, I think that that's the way it's going to go. And again, I take my thinking from lawyers that know way more about it than me, and they seem to be doing that. And as a general perspective of everything, I'm glad it's going to do. I'm glad for everybody. You know, if Richard Allen is innocent, he's sitting in this jail or this prison. And again, that's a law. If you guys don't like that, and I don't either, and I don't live in Indiana, I think that there's a way that you could push funding into a county prison, a county jail, and maybe like every 200 or 300 miles, say, listen, there has to be a jail that's able to take a high risk suicide, high profile murder case and put him in safekeeping until the hearing. But there's nothing illegal about it. Does it seem like it's wrong? Sure it does. The optics of it are bad, but it happens all the time. And that's the rule of law in Indiana. You're allowed to do that. I don't think that's a national thing. My state, I don't even know what my state does with that. It could be different too, or they could put people in there. But if that county or that city doesn't have the resources, yeah, I believe it's a premeditated attack. And usually attacks that happen in the daylight are disorganized attacks. Not always, but a lot of times, you're talking outside of daylight, would usually point to a disorganized killer. And I know a lot of people have thought that. But what I believe, the theory I believe tying into that, and I told you guys this before, I thought that Abby was the target because of, what appears to be, and I still haven't seen any crime scene photos, but what appears to be undoing or redressing. He felt bad about her, but didn't feel bad about Libby. The defense has asserted that Abby's had a phone through Great Page in the archives, through their documents too. Bullet is not great evidence. The tool marks are going to be the same. Yeah, I'm not sure the percentage on that, but I think that if the bullet was all they had, and I think they're going to be able to show the chain of custody on the bullet. It might not have been primary, it might have been secondary scan or secondary search of the scene, but it wasn't weeks later. That by itself, that's all they had. It might be tough, right? But if you add that up with everything else, and we don't even know what else that they have, same with the confessions. Or the confessions weak or the confessions strong. Nobody knows how detailed the confessions are. He made them to females in his life that he looks up to. His dad isn't around. You watched Chris Watts broke down to his dad. I don't know. We have to hear them or at least read the transcripts from them. But I think you have to hear them. I think that'll be better. And if we get to hear them in court, I think you're going to have to hear them in court unless they can somehow get them thrown out. The defense witnesses said that we're attorneys, say it's normal to share files. Well, that would answer my question then. So I spent all that time going over that display for you guys for nothing. But hey, that's why I have here. That's why I come here, because I don't know. So Charles, my brother, who's an attorney general agent, said the same thing. He said that if he tried to pull the trigger and it jammed, that would be really good evidence. He doesn't know just about I cock it and I cock it again. I once theorized in a video that after what he did, he went like this. He was going to go like this. So he goes and boom, a bullet kicks out. Now he's looking around and that takes him away from what he does. Because I do think that Richard Allen, if he's the guy or whoever did this, does have remorse. I see remorse. I see, like, I don't know what led up to it. What was that crescendo? But I do see some kind of remorse. And I don't mean that we should treat him with any remorse if he's found guilty. You can't fix people like that. They just need to go away. Death penalty, whatever you do, I don't know. But it's just a theory. It's an absolute theory. But my brother certainly agrees with that if we knew that. I got what you said, Charles. Doesn't seem like it, though, right? From what we know, it doesn't seem like it. But he had not heard of a case where they've just used totally back ballistics. They found there was also the clip missing one. And again, I go back to that. The house had a bunch of phones, right? They were junk drawer phones, but there was two. I think it was two. It was two phones, silver. One was silver. I think one was black. Motorola flip burners. And I'm theorizing they're burners. Kept in a place of prominence in the bedroom in a wicker woven basket wrapped in paper. What's in that basket means a lot. We all have baskets like that. There might be some junk in there too, but you might have some jewelry in there, a watch. I have some cards, like when I go to people's funerals, I'll save them. I have a place for that. That's the profiling thing, and I'm 33rd degree amateur profiler, but that's different. Those are kept different. Those are kept in a place of prominence. Those could be your trophies. I've also theorized, it wasn't my theory initially, but what if they were waiting for that phone to power back on? And he, sometime in 2022, powered it back on. And what if that's one of the phones in the geofence? That's all total theory. Total theory. And no proof of that, just, thinking out loud. Yeah, either he did or he got kicked. I think he was going to mention Kobe Bryant. So when I asked David for evidence, he attacked Kobe Bryant. So I guess he doesn't have any evidence other than just saying conspiracy, she. That's what people do when they don't have evidence. They attack you personally. Or they attack Kobe Bryant, who wasn't a rapist. And there's court records to show that. Cheated on his wife. And he bought her, I think, a $4 million ring. But who doesn't make mistakes? Yeah, Frank, you said that. There's definitely heat between them two. And listen, I think that Major Click maybe is like, man, why aren't you guys listening to me? And, maybe now that they can't, I'm sure they can't do it now, but maybe back, in 2021 or 2022, they should have said, listen, Major Click, this is what we got. This is why we walked away from those people. Yeah, mother even more so than the wife, because he had he was adopted, but I don't know. Then people could argue too. Elvis Fields, he made two confessions to two sisters, so I could see how that comes back. And listen, that's also hard to explain too. Diminished mental capacity. I don't know. I think someone that knew something from details, whether it was leaked out initially to locals or, or even maybe someone was involved or heard something about it, leaked something to him, tried to make him feel important. And he went around, but admitting that and saying that to a police officer, it shows you that you don't understand the consequences, because you're not going to do that. They have nothing on you, but I can see it go both ways. But whenever they say false confessions, call it false confession, that's the law enforcement, right? So we have it on both sides. Was he crazy? How detailed was it? Fields said he spit on him. Fields ties the horns to everything together. That's why Elvis Fields is so important, because without Elvis Fields, there's no horns, right? From the people that say that they've seen the pictures, I know some people said that they've seen the people that I trust that have admitted, hey, I've seen him, someone sent him to me. I don't see that there. But he's the crucial tie for that, in my opinion. In my opinion. KK was in solitary and no trial for 3 years. Yeah. The YouTubers colluding with the defense or not defending. Yeah. Well, so many people are just so many people are just so, they came here for a right reason and they kind of lost their way, in my opinion. Maybe they think I lost my way. And it's just, am I Greeno? Yes. And if you're going to tell me not to swear, I use the F word like a comma. Oh, the bracket. Yeah. Well, the bracket isn't monetized. I don't know if that's what you meant. Unraveling. What did they spin? They just kind of had the girl talking. I forget, I don't know her name. She was taking her notes, and they were picking apart. Like, a lot of channels did. People could say, "Hey, you pick apart the defense because you believe he's guilty of it." And I'm sure at times you're right. I try to hear what everyone says. Yeah, it's in my Discord. Hold on a second. Let me see if I could share it in the chat here. And it's free. Yeah. Oh. I got to put the password in. It's a capital S. So sorry about that. Everyone can have a good laugh at the password. I wanted something that everybody in my Discord could remember. Capital S and sweaty. It'll ask when you're prompted. Oh, Kathy's in the bracket. Good. Yeah, I don't know if it was solitary. He was definitely in a pedo unit. They keep those people separate. But it's certainly possible. I don't know that for sure. Joe, I just put it in. No money, just for talking shit. Oh, CJK put it in too. Really waiting for a criminal defense attorney to weigh in the parity of resources. In the attorney to weigh on Allen being charged. Yeah, that's interesting too, because I know a lot of people are saying that, and I don't understand how that works with money and this and that. Very good point. Very good point, Mel. Bossy believes solitary. Yeah, that could have had to do with what his charges were. Good point. Why aren't his friends supporting him? Why didn't he talk about it in the bar he hung out where Libby, aunt, and cousin worked as bartenders? Did Anna work there too? I don't know if Anna worked there, Abby's mom, at CJ's bar. That's interesting too. I think that they've showed everyone on their witness list. Now maybe they could amend that or whatever. But I don't see any. Everyone was able to say this is an attorney, this is that. Yeah. Interesting point. Richard Allen is the most hated man in Indiana, but most loved. Yeah. I wouldn't stop anybody from getting involved in any case, whether it's in if there's a Pennsylvania case, someone, oh, what are you doing involved? Or people from other countries. Hey, man, you come over. There's some interesting cases in England. I watched not too long about the Yorkshire Ripper. And then what was the guy, Nielsen, that had bodies everywhere in his house? Holy shit. I also like the way British people talk. I think it's really cool. No. Not his daughter. I have no proof of anything, but not his daughter. I do think he was into young girl CSAM, and I think that that's going to come up. I always thought that that's the reason that Discovery was written the way it was, and it wasn't necessarily the crime scene photos, but that's a theory. Defense had moved forward with the meaningful bond hearing. Most of this stuff, the burden of proof. That's a good point. Yeah, you're going way back now. That's a good point. Yeah. I know that little bit about the court, like stuff like that. People point at Logan and fake alibi, but I've seen two different things pointing to Allen's. I don't think I haven't seen an Allen. I haven't put an Allen alibi up. I haven't seen one. The Rushville people all have alibis. We don't know. We know one of them is. We don't know what the other ones are, but he doesn't have it. So I always thought that was interesting. Frank, you doing a live tonight? Hold on a second over here. Mother of Dragons. Thank you so much, Mother of Dragons. Appreciate you. I have in my starred thing over here, and I didn't look at it because anytime a chat comes up, I definitely want to shout it out if I can. Going crazy, $3. Thank you so much. Bossy, $20. You're too kind. Authentic's the number one thing I want to be here, even more so than smart. Thank you guys. You guys are incredible. Absolutely incredible. Let me get these. We're already 20 minutes over. Well, anyone have anywhere to go? I'm going to be out of here in a couple. Me and my dog are about to eat some peanut butter. He gets the spoon after me. I'm not that white. There's human error. Totally expected in the case length. I agree with you there. I agree with you. And you know what? If people came out, maybe during the case they can't come out and say that the law enforcement, but keep it authentic with people. I think that matters. My opinion, it matters to me. But okay, man. You know what I mean? New to the channel, so what's your take on innocence on RK and BK? Well, I really haven't gotten into Koberger at all. I got to be honest with you. So I wouldn't even make an educated guess. Richard Allen, I'm 85% that he is guilty. The 15% I'm holding back, I can't look at that picture of the bridge and say that that's him. It looks like him, but my eyes just can't say for sure because of the way the picture is. So I can't honestly come here and tell you that. But the evidence that lead up to it, him putting himself there, the tactics of the defense a little bit, and then no alibi. No. In his letter to the court, there was mercy on the court. I'm innocent, Judge. I would never kill two girls. Screaming from the rooftops. Never happened. To me, it seemed like he gave up. Lauren, yes. Frosty talked about that. I actually did a show on Israel Keys, and there was some thought that she could have been a victim of him. I wonder if you think about that, Joe. But Frosty has covered that case. Mother of all dragons, hello there. Steve Mullins got drilled. He just, I don't know Steve Mullins, but he's just always just like, kind of like piss looking, maybe. Thank you, Mustang. Someone else said it before, too. Her and Connie should sue him. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, there's my Discord. And I'm sure other people will come in. People play capture the flag and take pictures. You can take any pictures you want in my Discord. I don't give a fuck. Have fun with it. Thank you. I try to bring up questions on both sides. Let the guys know what I think. Again, I'd love to hear from Major Click. I find him as a very interesting character in the case, and I think that he's coming from the heart. I don't think he's looking for anything crazy. I think he's really well. I don't know if there is or not, Charles, exactly, but I'll tell you this from the law enforcement side, where people are saying conspiracy. Sometimes they don't do themselves any favors, and it makes you mad. Like, well, just do this. Why don't you just do this? But I'm hoping at the end of the day, there's another piece to move on the board. I don't think there's any grand hectagonal conspiracy with 50 people to Supreme Court. Odness. There he is. Kobe. Yeah. Well, David, if you were interested in reading any court papers, you would know that is not true. David, I have a surprise for you, my friend. Hold on a second here. David, you join 4 N-words and a flaming cross, and Tall Man is being the 3rd person blocked on my YouTube. Congratulations. You don't talk bad about Kobe here, especially if you don't read court papers. But I'm sure he will go back to his little den of thieves and be like, look what we did. I'm not mad, though. Hope you find peace, David. I heard Bob is going to go live today. Yeah, you know what? I watched his first one, and he was hungry. Or his wife said Bob gets hangry. So I didn't know if he did another one last night. Maybe he went to bed. But I enjoy his show. I know people have issues with him here. I think he's just he's just an entertaining guy. He's a defense lawyer. I think that something like that happened too. And whether it was that or not, do you think yesterday's issues could sway the judge to allow? I don't know. That's a good point, Bossy. I don't think YouTube's going to have any influence on the case. But that is an interesting point. That's a very interesting point. I don't know. And does anyone know if the ruling keeping the hearings in Allen County, I hope it's the right county, keeping everything in Allen County, does that steer televised one way or the other? But I mean, is Allen County always televised stuff? Do they have a good camera system there? Or is Allen County to have a shitty camera system? Maybe Mel or somebody local can help with that. Kathy, just curious. Yeah. They might even maybe 04. That's okay. There's 3 now. Dun, 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 dun. Getting ready to get out of here. I appreciate all your comments. You've been fantastic. Delphi Dummies is here. I enjoy being spoofed by Delphi Dummies. What could I say? Jill filled out a bracket. I've always really liked Holman, but him using the read technique with Fortson was disappointing. The read technique, old school. So if you aren't into like Mel smart as a whip. If you're not into true crime, I don't know what that stands for. Oh God, you're putting me. I'm not going to remember. But it reads an anagram for words that they would use. The police use during an interview technique. And I think that was the old American technique that they've kind of gotten away from, if I'm not mistaken, Mel. You obviously know way more about it than I do. Yorkshire Ripper, Jimmy Savile or Savile. I watched the YouTube show on him. I didn't think I'd be into it. My girlfriend's like, let's watch it. I'm like, what the hell do I want to watch this for? It's very interesting. Yorkshire Ripper, yeah. And one of the yes. All very interesting. Seville, I don't think was doing that though. He was doing some other bad shit. They were made master masons at the same lodge. Oh, I think it's my grandpa was a mason. You know why he said he became a mason? So he could get better deals on cars. Yeah, you want to go way back, they were more secretive, but they're not now. We toured their, they have a building. There's one in McKeesport here. We have a building. And if you want to go deeper into secret societies, like 10 degrees above the Masons, I'll listen to you. But the Masonic thing is, and again, no one's brought any proof of it. The defense hasn't brought it up either. In my opinion, the Masonic angle is not much to do about nothing. But that's my opinion. Israel Keys is a terrible monster. So anyways, I'm going to get ready. I asked Doug Carter, they were investigating the YouTuber to threaten to blow up Abbey and Libby Field. Oh, Frank. I see Frank out there. He's out there ripping the heater. Hey, superintendent. Masons could be any religion. I would disagree with you there. They can be different religions, but they have to believe in something the same. I knew that from my grandpa wore the ring. He didn't show me the handshake. He's like, there's a handshake. He wouldn't show it to me. He never asked me to join or anything like that, though. He shook his head. And then he's gotten some emails then. When it's all said and done, I hope Kelsey, yeah, I do too. I hope that they find peace too. I really do, because they're, and they can't do anything right now. So we'll see what happens at the end, but I hope they have peace. No, he was suspended for a while. I don't think it's taken. I haven't been on there in a while though. Thank you, Truth and Justice. Peter Sutcliffe. The Yorkshire Ripper, pretty sure, right? Mel, does that matter? Filming either way? Like, is that, are all the counties equipped? Or I thought I heard at another hearing that was televised that it was picked at the courtroom, and that courtroom did really good things. Purple Haze, how are you? I agree. I hope it's on too. Not just for the I want to watch it or I'm nosy factor or what's going on, but every courtroom. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And listen, if you watch cases and stuff on like court TV and things when there's sensitive evidence, they turn away from it, and they never show the jury unless it's the Rex Heuermann trial and the cameraman makes a mistake. But anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Great chat today. I'm over an hour 30. Yesterday, there things that happened at the courtroom. I understand where people were coming from. I think defending what they think they need to defend, and you say, yeah, time and place. You got to take the high road. You got to take what yesterday taught me was you got to take the high road. So I did what I did before. I fed up, couldn't take anymore. But I think that if people that are good people, and not blaming families, whether they think Richard Allen's guilty or innocent, just says, fuck you guys. All due respect. Fuck you guys. You guys do what you want to do over here. You run your circuses, you run your Springer channels, and the real people will be in here debating. So I want to sit at the YouTube table. We Thanksgiving dinner, everyone's over. The YouTube table with people like Frank, you know what I mean? People, I'm going to name people, friends at Ruckus, Fig. I'm leaving people out. There's a lot of people. I want to sit at the big table, and the kids' table will be off to the side, and we'll let them sit at the kids' table, and they can, do whatever they want to do, because they don't care about Libby and Abby. They don't care about the case. Let them do what they want to do at the little kids' table. I hope that yesterday is like a wake-up call for people, whether they were involved in any incidents or not, and just be like, listen, this is just. It's getting too much. It's getting too much. And not only just affecting cases, but like something bad's going to happen to someone. Someone's going to end up in jail, and they shouldn't. They're not, I don't think people are criminals that are doing these things. They're gassed up for their side, man. And they think that they're doing something good. And I was a party to it too. I had all I can handle, and I got clapped back against, and I didn't bitch or complain about it. I knew shit was coming. They shared pictures of my girlfriend, my son. Made comments about the way my mom smelled. The game's the game, man. I'm not calling any cops. I did what I did, and I got it back. So fine, move on from there. But I just think anymore that despite how bad that you want to come at these people and you want to correct them, when it's some of the stuff that they share is so easily correctable, I just think we should just carry on with ourselves, have good debates amongst ourselves. If number 3, David Gray, would have came in here and said, hey, this is what I think. When I asked him for evidence, he said Kobe Bryant was a rapist. So David Gray has no evidence. So when you ask somebody and when you debate someone and they attack you, you won the fight. You need to just put your hands up in the air, get your title belt on. I beat you. You're out of here. And then let those people move on. Let them make videos and lies about whatever. I like to spoof and parody channels, even when they make fun of me. I enjoy that. That's done with good intentions. Yeah, I'm jagging you guys off, but it's done with good intentions. So I hope that, you know, the very hard takeaway from tomorrow is, or from yesterday is, you know, let's just cool the fuck out. Cool the fuck out. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep making videos, you know, as long as it's respectful, and let's form a lane. Let's get on the highway here and let's move along with this case wherever it takes us. And, you know, all the nonsense and the Springer people could get off on an exit, and they could go there and they could have fun. But when the real people quit, you know, feeding into what they're doing, they're going to turn and eat each other until there's nothing left. That's what's going to happen. So, I don't know. That's my opinion. There are plenty of people might think I'm wrong, and that's okay too. But anyways, I try to be transparent with you. I had a really cool presentation, I thought, and then everyone told me that I was wrong about it. But I'm glad you did, because I didn't go any further with it. I just thought it was interesting, and I hope that you all have a good Tuesday. It's supposed to be 44 degrees here. So you know what that means, 44 degrees in March. I'm making hamburgers on the grill because that's warm in Pennsylvania. And I look forward to meeting you all here coming up in April. And again, I don't know who anyone is. I don't even know if you're a man or a woman. So when you come up to me, you got to say, hey, I'm Huge Erection, or hey, I'm, you know, whoever you are, whatever your name is. Oh, okay. Hey, Hugh, how are you? But that's all. I appreciate everybody coming in. Had a great chat today. Over 80 people on a Tuesday. People that super stickered. You guys are fantastic. I can't say enough about you, really. Every time that someone donates any money to me, I'm like, wow, like, it's great. But I'll be bringing tea in boxes to all you guys out there too. So I hope to see you all soon. Hopefully Franco's live tonight. Check out your favorite creators, whoever they are, whether you believe Richard Allen's guilty or innocent, conspiracy or not. As long as you're not blaming the families with no proof, me and you are okay. And that's about it. So I'm going to leave you go. If anyone sees Bob Mata, tell him I think he dresses nice, but I could help him find some Jordans to go with some of them suits, man. He could be styling and profiling like the Nature Boy. So we'll say tentacles before we get out of here. And as he proved yesterday, Doug Carter will still kick everyone's ass if he needs to. Thank you all. I love you all. You guys are fantastic. Coach Kev, out.